So Forbidden Reach has been released for a few weeks now, and you may be a returning player, a new player, or just an addict looking to gear their 10th ult. I've seen a lot of talk around the Onyx Amulet, the best gems for it, the island itself, the storyline that beholds you. But what I want to understand and kind of make clear is it a good experience to get caught up for the next patch, or has Blizzard fucked up here? Oh, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one, aren't I? In all seriousness, I think it's a pretty good setup with the enemies and taking us seriously, and I don't even really know their names, to be honest, but it looks to be pretty good. Now, what I want to focus on is if you are a fresh level 70 on an ult or a returning player, what is in place to be able to really catch up and play this game properly? We don't want to waste time running around on, shitty low-level keys when we can be doing the higher level content, and even if you're just prepping another ult just to be ready for Season 2, so you don't have to waste some of your time. Is it too late at this point, or, is it relatively smooth and easy? So since you're too lazy to go and have a look at it yourself, well, let's go and jump into it. Going to Valdrakken, you'll receive a quest to visit the Forbidden Isles, or the Forbidden Reach, or one of the name of them, a home of the Drakfir, the starting area, and you also get that nice lore dump that I'm sure you can look onto YouTube for it. Now, what we also get is this Primalist gear. Essentially, it's item level 385 gear that is bind on account, so you can send that off to any ult that you want to. You don't even have to be playing the character that you want to gear up, which is kind of nice, but there are some caveats to it that we'll get into later on. Now, a quick flight path over for the quest, and you'll quickly get to Forbidden Reach, in which you can start looking at gaining your gear. Now, on this island, there are some main story progression and some lore that I'm sure you can find out when you decide to play it. But damn it, we want gear, so how do we get it? Well, if we open up a map, we can see these little swirly grey dragons. These are simply rare spawns that we can fly over, see the monster, kill the monster, and loot the monster. Warning, is a bit annoying with them being in caves, or underwater caves, or tunnels, or in buildings, and it can be a bit complicated sometimes actually finding it, but if you manage to beat the Mad Rush over, you can pummel it out of existence with 50 other greasy nerds. Now, I must say, compared to previous expansions, it's actually quite a lot funner doing this navigating, purely because you are dragon flying. Navigating the land is still fun, and getting there is usually quite fast, and you don't have to sit there waiting for the end of times as you see all these rares disappearing. It is rather good and definitely an improvement. Now a few of the weirder bits. First, you can get gear drop at item level 3i5, which is pretty good enough to do endgame bits and progress your character and be ready for Season 2. One of the stranger things is you can get gear drop that you can't actually use. As a plate weather, you can get cloth, leather, or mail pieces. Now, this doesn't feel great, but there are upsides to it. First of all, it's account bound, meaning you can get the piece, you can trade the piece to your ult that you may need gear on, so if you have an array of characters, it's quite easy to get ready to the point that you need to be with them. Meaning that you can gear up your sad little ult army pretty effectively, or if you have multiple characters here wanting to gear up, it can all be done off one, so quite really good, to be honest. Wow, no, that's nice.
But what about if I don't want the gear that drops?
Wow, sorry, you caught me off guard. Well, luckily they thought about it. Another benefit of these is they can actually be traded in a raid group. You can join a custom group who are farming these creatures and these elites, and you can join everyone else in zooming around with their ADHD. Simply fly one-to-one and keep an eye on who's looting what, as some players like you may not need the other pieces. So if you see a piece that you need, simply whisper the player and beg them for it and put a love heart and be very, very nice. Now, I have seen the argument that, hey, maybe we should be able to sell these tokens and get them to trade for the pieces that we need, and although that would be very nice, you gotta remember, WoW still is an MMO, and hey, Blizzard probably still want you to group up with people to do this content, so it's a nice sacrifice for us. Now, after about 58 minutes and 18 seconds of gameplay, we're able to do a check on where we are with our progression. So just about an hour of killing these rares, we're sat at 363 item level. There are still many pieces that we have that we need to correct across the board. So you can see I have some very low neck pieces, very low ring, not great weapons, which is drastically pulling down my item level. So if I get a fix for them, that should jump me quite sharply. Now, it is worth noting that you can upgrade your Primalist gear from 385 to 395 with these little tokens you can see on my screen, but note that you have to be on the character that you're wanting to upgrade on to actually use them. They can't be traded on an account, and although that you may find that annoying, I think, hey, gearing the actual ult that you want to gear, it makes sense that you have to play on them at the very least. So I don't hate this, I understand this. Now, I do also want to mention at this point that there is the Onyx Ring that you can get, which is essentially a new item that they introduced for 10.0.7, and honestly, there's going to be much better guides out there for how to get it, but just a few tips that I want to give to you. The hour time that I spent gave me enough materials and keys to be able to do the votes. And to be able to start and get the ring, you do have to do some of the main story. So just completing that until you get to the vote will get you into the position that you need. So that was everything I needed to do to get my 424 ring with the best stones in it. Now, there are a few things that I don't like about this ring. I think it's way too complicated for how you get it and the pieces you get with it. And the fact that there's like 30 different options you can get, that is just really one optimal set that you can get for DPS. So I think they put too much choice into it to the point where they made it complicated, and I don't really think that it was needed much for it. Now, if you are a new player, note that you can actually craft some gear as well. I recommend looking up a crafting guide, but it does mean you will have to play your character a bit through Mythic Plus or dungeons to kind of get the gear that you want. For returning players, though, who have already completed the set of quests for the sparks, just note you can actually go up here on your ult on your map and you can do the skip to get all 5 sparks. So crafting gear is instantly accessible. It's quite nice. Once you do it once, you can do the skip every time. You can also send over Primal Chaos, one of the things required for crafting from one character to another, so again, good for returning players here. So crafting a 389 weapon as well as an elemental lariat and being very generous with the commission of 100 gold pieces. Honestly, don't pay high at this point in time, you'll just be wasting your money. It may take a little bit of time, but it will be crafted. You can get any pieces that you couldn't manage to get through that system and take these into Season 2 with you. These crafted pieces are staying in the game, so it's worth, getting the best pieces that you can now, ready for the next season. Now, this Primalist gear can actually be turned into tiered pieces, which will give you a significant power boost. You have 6 charges at this point, so I recommend just getting 2 set at the very least, or wait until, if you really want to push, you get a couple of Mythic Plus drops so you're in a good gear. There are arguments whether this was released too late, which I don't want to get into now. It would be nice for it to be a bit sooner, but we're here now. It's nice that it's here, and it's nice we can get it fast. Now, with about 2 hours worth of gameplay, we're able to finish this up at 384 item level, which I think is more than enough for getting into Season 2, and also a really great position for pushing into the season if you wanted to for these last couple of weeks. Let's look at the pros and cons of these. First of all, gearing is quite rapid. With 2 hours only worth of gameplay, 3 of 4, we seem to miss a lot of the slower content that we may not want to actually do anymore. Also, if you're returning, you can start doing the endgame stuff that would have normally taken a few weeks to potentially get to. I think an item level at this speed is only a good thing for the longevity of the game. Secondly, drop gear is account bound and can be traded between players, giving faster results, and I actually got 5 pieces of gear from simply trading them from other players who didn't need it. The crafting system in place is also good for gearing up any pieces that you are unlucky with getting it. And lastly, the Primalist gear can be tiered using the Catalyst, therefore catching you up to the point so you don't feel like you're behind on these ults. Now, but with everything, certain cons does come with it. So There aren't too many here that I have to really complain about, to be honest. The first one being the Onyx Amulet is just overly complicated, and most of the information that I found to figure out how the fuck this thing worked was externally through Wowhead, and I think it needs to be explained more in-game. The crafting upgrades and how to make it stronger is just, it's too much. Secondly, it would be nice to have tokens to kind of guarantee pieces of loot. I can see people taking exponentially shorter or longer depending on their luck, but I understand it does promote MMO aspects. And currently, you're not fucking subscribed to the channel and you haven't liked the video, so go ahead and do that, and yeah, that will be it. I hope you found this shit helpful, and yeah, return sometime. I do other content. So that's it from me. I hope you learned a few bits about my experience with gearing up a new character and trying to figure out what the fuck to play in Season 2. But good luck. Share your experiences with me in the comment section. Share your thoughts, and well, look at that. We're done. Look, finished. Done. Wow, finito. Subscribe, bitch.